Well, once again, it's that time to say hello to all you folk in Arkansas. You're with Michael Crosby, and I am running for POTUS. Yes, I'm running for POTUS. And let's start out here with the real interesting news for all of you Arkansans. Now, first of all, there are some folks that have committed some sins. Now, it seems that, well, Julie Sue is connected to $31 billion in fraud. But that's just the beginning of the story. Say she had a serious communication problem, not communicating with people. And she blacklisted a number of people that Congress ordered to be paid, say. And among those would happen to be quite a number of people. There's a lot of people who sued and won, but I also happen to be one of those people, and they still haven't compensated me yet, and I'm a candidate. So as a candidate for the presidency of the White House, nobody's allowed to blacklist me. I'm an ongoing candidate. I've run for governor before in California. This or that, But originally I started out running for president out of Arkansas. It's an interesting set of stories. But let's talk a little bit more about the evidence. For the last year and a half, I've been putting evidence out all over the place. And primarily the best place, the best source to find that evidence is on X. X is the place. X marks the spot to find that evidence. And you will see thousands and thousands of images involving broken windows, crowbarred facilities, houses, doors kicked in, locks broken, a whole slew of false arrests. Because some people, they don't play by the proper code. They don't play the right way, say. So we have Julie Sue who blacklisted people. Well, you can't blacklist a candidate. You can't shut down a candidate's income and all of his businesses and nonprofit. That's attack on a candidate. That's considered an act of war, and that disqualifies you because you're a muster for who? Who is she a muster for? Who is she connected to? Well, she's currently connected to Joe. And I mean, the way this whole thing goes down is kind of sad, actually, in some ways, but not, because, well, basically, there's other Democrats that Julie's connected to. She's connected to Kamala Harris. There's a lot to do about Kamala Harris. Let's talk a little bit more about the evidence. By entering another bad player into this, her name is Shirley Weber. And she is the Secretary of State of California. She is in charge of protecting the process of elections. Now, there was another election just prior to this sequence called the California Special Recall Election. See, some folks, they wanted to recall Gavin. They wanted to get Gavin out of the picture. Now, I could see the writing on the wall on which way those percentages were going. I figured out he was going to get someplace between 58 and 60% of the vote, based upon going out, knocking doors, shaking hands, talking to people, getting numbers. Those are the numbers that just come up. That's what I come up with. But I wanted to run for governor. I needed to get myself going to run for governor. So I decided to start doing all the paperwork up to run for governor. But see, Julie Sue didn't want to pay me the money that was owed. So here I have this incredible fleet. I have this entire convoy of mobile broadcast RV vehicles that in fact, well, it's frozen, got frozen. They also happen to be archive vehicles. Now, some people in Arkansas may know me from some of my other archive work that I basically helped people get into computers all over the state. I used to sell those things off at auction all the time. The Red Barn, a lot of different places, Conway, a lot of different places all over the place. And there's a lot of people that might remember me from going up to Young Road, picking up some of the stuff, going through, getting hold of the parts, putting computers back together, I was asked to go to the college once. Guy couldn't believe it. College professor there noticed the way I did computers, and he was impressed. He was impressed. He says, you know, you're setting a record for the amount of computers that a technician can repair in the course of about 4 hours. And I says, I am. He says, yeah, I want to show you to the class. So, yeah, we did that. It was a little bit of fun there. And some people didn't quite exactly understand it, but that's okay. Didn't have a lot of time because I was trying to condense it down to an hour, and that didn't quite work. It's more of a 2.5 to 4 hour thing. But, you know, they might have got the idea by the way I showed them how to arrange them, how you go through them and start swapping them around. And basically, so yeah, about 10,000 computers I put out in Arkansas. So most all of those were basically sold below cost. Yeah. And I loved it. I loved doing it. I loved it. And I just kept buying equipment because I was getting all kinds of equipment. And then there was that Detco power thing. The Detco chemical plant blowed up. It blowed up and just put chemicals over all the inventory, over everything. I had 2 complete 24-track studios, 8 camera editing systems. All this stuff was stored, getting ready for the next piece of property that I had. All of it got inundated with these chemicals. You know, the cleanup, to call people in and have them clean out all these chemicals. And it was like this sticky, acidic stuff. It was horrible, you know. You had people all over Conway. But if you were near the Detco thing, you had people throwing out their toilets, throwing their sinks out, because this stuff would glue itself to porcelain. You couldn't get it off. There was no chemicals that could break it down. People were chucking everything because they couldn't get this stuff off. You had people at toilets where the water was, it was clean, but anything above the water, all this stuff was like sticky. It was like acid in, sticky, and you couldn't use any chemicals to get rid of it. It was this miracle new chemical that somehow got invented because of the fire that was identified as like 3,400 plus types of chemicals by I think it was the National Guard that brought out the chemical aerial monitoring equipment, and got some samples on that. You know, but anyhow, we're going to come back to the let me track on back here. See, we got Shirley Weber here, see. So I have to keep contacting the Secretary of State's office. Now, this is not the first time. There were some other problems in the past. I'll discuss those later on and how those are important. So I'm saying, hey, look, Julie Sue's blacklisting me. The state owes me a lot of money. I need $6,000 to get on the ballot. There's my ballot fee for governor. And she says, no. I says, look, all the records involving me as a petitioner, a guy going door to door and going to basically populous places. That's where the signatures were. You go to populous places. You know, and at the end of it, I started working with other people. I was running a small team, and I was set to run another team. And of course, the shutdown orders shut all of that down. So the other types of business avenues were auctions. Those were ordered shut down. I'll spare you the long list. Every form of avenue of income was ordered shut down. But California's got a lot of nice laws that says you cannot cheat somebody out of their base labor. That's against the law. Congress said, here, let's order this man to be paid. Yes, this man has to be paid. So basically I says, well, you know, Miss Weber, you know, I give her more informative information. I says, look, you have to do 5 minutes worth of work, where you call downstairs and say, I need to confirm that Mr. Crosby here, his name appears on turning in groups of petitions. And then make a follow-up call to Julie Sue and say, hey, what's going on here? You're blacklisting this guy? Well, he's got records right here. He's a verified political gig worker. You cannot attack the income of a gig worker. They have to be paid. It's the law. It's the Constitution. In fact, when you're also a candidate You can't do that, because if you do that, if you attack the income of a candidate, it's an act of war. And the policing top agent to protect the process of elections is the Secretary of the State of California, who has no choice but to do her job or be in dereliction of duty. Well, she refused to do her job. She refused to credit me. She refused to do 5 minutes worth of work, and call up Julie Sue and say, what's going on here? This guy's verified. Why don't you pay? You need to pay him, because I can verify right here he's entitled to money. Got the paperwork right here about the shutdown, the stay-at-home orders. And we already know how this works. Man's income shut down, you're supposed to pay him, and I have to credit him because the state owes him money. His money's no good. My money should have been no good. Yeah, the state owed me $90,000. $90,000. Started out smaller, got to 20,000, 30, 40, 60. So the state owes me all this money, and I'm saying, listen, you guys don't want to pay me, and you've ordered my businesses shut down, and I'm a candidate. Candidate needs only verbally proclaimed, by the way, when you have an insurrection. That's one of the things written up in the articles and Constitution and whatnot. People just don't understand it. So they're going to try to play their games and come up with filthy lies and blacklist a candidate's income and cause a security problem. They caused a huge security problem. And then basically, mysteriously, I kept coming under violent attack. I had people shooting at me. I had 2 attempted assassinations by gunfire. Yep, 2 of those. Yep, Trump only had 1. He joined the club here recently. But I've actually had 7 attempts on my life. 7 attempts on my life. And by gunfire, and that's interesting. And one of them was basically witnessed by an old buddy of mine. His name was Robert Nichols. Robert Nichols, he used to be a police officer for Pulaski County. Actually, he was a Pulaski County sheriff, and he was a witness to one of the assassination events, and which is kind of interesting there. And unfortunately, he has not made it through life at this point. He is now gone, and it's a very sad thing. Robert is gone. Bob is gone. So, but, nonetheless, there's all of this other paperwork involving who witnessed what, when, and where, and all this neat stuff. But regardless, the key information that's of the most importance primarily just got revealed. So what has happened is when parties are in dereliction of duty and they are aiding and abetting other parties doing blacklisting, they must stand with the other parties committing acts of treason. Attack and acts of war upon a candidate is an interference of elections that is an act of war. The other parties are more than just disqualified. They are actually committing acts of treason and can get the death penalty for it. Now, because I'm also an archiver, and I had I got a nonprofit, or at least it was, registered out of Arkansas. Yeah, you people, again, you would remember me doing a lot of nonprofit work in Arkansas, handing those computers out, hooking up families at incredibly cheap rates. Yeah, you need computers. Yeah, what do you need? Oh, I got 4 kids. Give me $100, I'll give you 4 computers. Well, nobody can do that. Well, that ain't right. I says, for me it is. He said, well, how's that going to pay for everything? Don't worry about it. So there are people out there, they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that their lives changed, that their kids' lives changed, that the ability for their kids to do their homework changed. So I also was into doing other things, into archiving a lot of special research, special AI custom research. I did a lot of FTL research. I had a custom lab out in Greenbrier for a while. And I bought an awful lot of laboratory equipment. Yep, I transported a lot of equipment. People look at that and go, what is that? That's okay. Or no, actually, I tell them what it is. Well, it says it's this, but I'm going to do something else with it. So, yeah, I had a lot of medical equipment, a lot of stuff that was certified, ready to go, emergency equipment, material, and whatnot. And basically, we got this situation where people also, they donated a lot of work. I had a lot of people were into computers. They donated their lives research. They died. And they donated a lot of work and research that they did. And there are other things that got donated. Rare artifacts, rare books. I was always into collecting rare books too. We're talking some documents, original one-of-a-kind documents. We're talking very rare original one-of-a-kind artifacts. And there's some people that know me for that too. So these are all covered by the Constitution of the United States. You cannot attack a museum or an archive or do the destruction or participate in the destruction or loss of artifacts. All of these items have 3 overlapping areas, which are mandatory death penalty. So at this point, people facing mandatory death penalty are Julie Sue, Shirley Weber, and Kamala Harris. There are some other people, close to 200 people, that are facing serious charges. But see, Kamala Harris was into not prosecuting police officers who were caught red-handed harassing candidates in earlier elections. See, there it is, in earlier elections. See, so she was big on taking money from Donald Trump. She did that. That's verified. You can go look that up for yourself. You know, but I was a presidential candidate, but she's going to take money from Donald Trump, and then she's not going to prosecute police officers that have broken the law. She's not going to guarantee that I get compensated when I was a candidate coming under attack. So she refused services. She's in dereliction of duty. You know, and see, the thing is, see, here's the interesting thing. Arkansas did a nice review on some of this stuff and found in my favor and said it's pretty simple. We've contacted California on several instances on cases like this. They will not extradite the officer. Now, if you can get that officer into the state of Arkansas, we will prosecute that officer for sure, guaranteed. Now, the way it's going here, I'm a candidate. These people have kept up their criminal conduct for far too long, so I'm seizing the delegates. I got paperwork sitting in Washington, and fairly soon Arkansas is going to have paperwork from me involving the declaration of a foul, the declaration that these parties have violated the Constitution of the United States, have violated the process of elections. So as we move forward, the truth, the real truth, the hard truth, which is inescapable because I've been doling it out, putting it in nice tweets for over a year and a half on X. And yes, X does mark the spot. So we have all this material. So there is a lot more information on the conduct of Harris. So Harris, for participating in these items, is going to be kicked off the ballot in Arkansas. She's also going to be kicked off the ballot in California. She's eventually going to come under arrest. We're going to have Julie Sue come under arrest. We're going to have Shirley Weber come under arrest. Shirley Weber can't run for any office. She's participated in attacks upon a candidate. She can't get on the ballot. If she tries, she's getting kicked off the ballot. So what I need is a little extra sympathy from people in Arkansas and a little bit of understanding. Oh, how about a lot of understanding? I could use a lot of understanding. And those who are brave enough to participate in protecting the Constitution of the United States and protecting the truth so that we can move forward with getting these bad players removed from the ballot and have them prosecuted to the full extent of the law and punished as they deserve to be punished. Now, folks, I've also got other stuff I've talked about. I got a lot of plans for Arkansas. They're big plans, big water plans, water to sell out of Arkansas. That's $12,000 a year. I've laid the CalArc water project out, and I got a lot more things that I want to do for Arkansas. Yes, I do have a lot of things. But you know, when people keep destroying your archive, participating in causing the destruction of 18 broadcast mobile RV units. These things, you know, equipped. I had 5,000, 10,000 foot Wi-Fi on this. You know, I was setting these things up to be able to handle the entire Coliseum of Los Angeles, all the way around the entire parking lots, everything. So, you know, I was setting up to do the most fantastic upgrade in the history of humanity. You'll find a lot of stuff on X that I've put there on these incredibly brilliant ideas of how to let everybody build homes again, have their labor 100% guaranteed and backable by the sheer fact that they are guaranteed a home loan to build their own home. You are guaranteed a loan to do new construction, guaranteed under my administration. This is a repeated thing that's going to keep happening. So, and that having been said, it's getting late. We got about a little over 21 minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and post this up. Again, my name is Michael Crosby. I'm running for POTUS 2024. And I look forward to your contact and your questions. I'm on X. At any time, people can come in and say howdy on X. And I want your help to get these bad players removed from the ballot. Thank you.